had been shot to death, finding multiple shell casings at the scene.
Police in Clay County, Mississippi say they have a suspect in custody following a multi-home shooting spree that left 6 people dead. Derek Moore is accused of killing a 7-year-old girl, his father, and several others. 16th Judicial District of Mississippi District Attorney Scott Colomb says he's going to do what he can to make sure Moore faces the ultimate justice.
If he's eligible for the death penalty, the district attorney's office is going to go for the death penalty. You've got to have some cases. Typically I would consult with the victims and wait down the line, but there's some cases just that they've got to get the worst punishment.
Moore is being held without bond. Police haven't said what his motive might have been. President Donald Trump has issued a warning to Iran's government as hundreds have reportedly been killed in a nationwide crackdown on protests. Madeline Rivera has more.
President Trump has promised to respond forcefully if Iran resorts to mass violence. He says a meeting with Iran is in the works after they called over the weekend wanting to negotiate, but he warns the U.S. might have to act before a meeting takes place. The Wall Street Journal reports the U.S. options are not limited to just military strikes. Officials are also expected to consider boosting anti-government sources online, deploying secretive cyber weapons against Iranian military and civilian sites, and placing more sanctions on the regime.
President Trump says credit card companies are ripping people off, and he wants to do something about it. He's proposing a cap of 10% interest rates for a year.
I want a cap on credit card interest rates. Because, some of them are 28, almost 30%. And that people don't know they're paying 30%. We're putting a one-year cap at 10%, and that's it. They know it. They've really abused the public. The credit card companies have totally abused it. I'm not going to let it happen.
It was a victory in December when a federal judge ruled that California's public schools are not allowed to hide children's so-called gender transition from parents. But now, the state attorney general, the state superintendent, and the California Board of Education stepped in to stop it.
State Superintendent of Public Instruction Tony Thurmond, Attorney General Rob Bonta, and the board requested an emergency stay. A 3-judge panel granted it. Greg Bird is Policy Director for California Family Council. He summarized the case up to now.
We had a great decision here by a federal judge in San Diego. 2 teachers who were Christians said, we cannot abide by the school policy to keep the gender transitioning of kids who want to change their name and pronoun at school. We cannot abide by the school policy that says we got to keep that secret from parents.
During the Christmas season a couple of weeks ago, a federal judge decided that they were right and that these secrecy policies that are implemented all over California violate the Constitution.
But the state here in California, our Attorney General appealed that case to the Ninth Circuit District Court, and the Ninth Circuit has put a pause on that initial decision, and so we are back right where we started from.
So the secrecy policies are still in place, and we're going to have to wait for this court decision to play out.
They'll argue it over the next month or so, and then there'll be a final decision. But the good thing is the attorneys who filed the case on behalf of these 2 teachers, they have asked the Supreme Court to intervene, and they are hoping the Supreme Court will reverse the Ninth Circuit's decision, and so the original judge's decision to halt the secrecy policies will go into effect immediately. And so we'll have to wait to see what the Supreme Court says.
I'm Bronson Woodruff.
More news online at afn.net and on the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
Hello everyone, Tim Wildmon here. We've got some great tours lined up for 2026. Washington, D.C., George Washington's Mount Vernon, Colonial Williamsburg, historic Jamestown, Boston, Massachusetts, and that greater area. So much to see and do in 2026. If you want information on any of these trips, go to wildmongroup.com, WILDMON group.com, and we'll see you on one of our tours in 2026.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. I'm Tim Wildmon, and today is Monday, January the 12th, 2026. And as always, we thank you for listening to American Family Radio. Well, in studio with me is Ed Battagliano. Good morning.
Good morning, Tim.
Brother Ed and Brother Fred Jackson. Good
How
morning,
you
Fred.
doing, Ed?
Ed and Tim.
And Tim? You guys,
I'm
no,
here.
I was going to ask you. I was out for
Yeah.
drive yesterday, and
Yeah.
I saw people golfing in this now very cold weather.
Really?
And I wondered if it was you.
No, it wasn't me yesterday. I do have my limitations for the addiction. I can control myself when it gets below 50.
Okay.
And the wind's blowing. And it's in the. For golfers, they would understand what I'm saying. Also, there's something called cart path only.
Okay.
That mean anything to you guys?
Cart path only?
Yeah.
Okay.
So golf courses have cart paths
Yeah.
for the golf carts, right?
Sure.
Okay.
And they're concrete normally, unless you got a really redneck course, which is just roots and grass and a $5 green fee. But you get what you paid for. But most golf courses have concrete paths. But if the ground is so wet that they won't let you drive out on the course, they call it cart path only.
Oh, so you have to leave your cart,
Yes, and walk.
all your stuff.
You have to do a lot of exercising, which is
What's the point of that?
well, that's what I'm saying.
That's not
No.
fun.
So yeah, but it wasn't me, Fred.
Okay.
Wasn't me. It wasn't
Okay.
me. But anyway, yeah. So we hope everybody had a nice weekend. If you worship at the altar of football, you were able to succeed in much idolatry since last
man.
week, huh?
You're agreeing with the little old ladies who don't like football anyway.
Yeah, you know what's funny to me is people criticize. I had a lady write me one time, said, "You need to quit talking about golf. You need to give up golf. That's a rich man's sport."
Oh, is it? I've never heard
Well, that's
that.
what I asked her.
Yeah.
Is it really? Anyway, who cares?
Right.
I was going like, why do you care whether I golf or not? You know?
Well, and especially, okay, so I'm
And
just
we
going to start judging.
that's what
okay.
I'm saying. Let's judge each other.
People who drink $8 lattes or
Right.
get their coffee from Starbucks and cost $7-8 a pop, okay, are going to tell you can't golf because that's a rich man's sport.
I know.
Okay, well then drinking coffee is a rich woman's sport.
I know.
I mean,
well,
just you
I
stay in your lane, everyone else will stay in theirs. How's that?
Yeah. Well, it's like you said. Everybody's got something they enjoy
Yeah.
that they usually have a hobby or something like that, and so it's easy to criticize another man's hobby, right?
Yeah. Right.
But you don't want anybody criticizing yours, right?
Correct.
So,
And I'm not even. Listen, I don't even golf. So
Right.
I wasn't being defensive.
but I could judge you about watching Bruins hockey games.
Sure.
right? If I wanted to judge.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you would be guilty?
I would probably fall in the guilty column if watching Bruins hockey was wrong,
Right. It
which
mentioned-
obviously it's not.
mentioned in the
It's just painful.
well, it's
been
kind of those why do you do it to yourself things.
It's been a little bit painful this year.
Anyway. All right. No, Fred, that wasn't me golfing yesterday, my friend.
Okay.
But I am looking forward to warm weather, which will be here in a couple months.
Good luck.
And,
Good luck for a couple of
Well,
months.
we got 3 weeks of quote winter here where we live usually, and then it'll be gone.
Yeah.
All right. A lot to talk about today. A lot happening in
Man.
the news. Wow. I mean, since last we talked.
Yeah.
My word, a lot of things going on. All right, Fred, what's leading the news this morning?
Well, one begins to wonder if somewhere in the White House there is a cork board which says countries to conquer. Because we've now moved on from Venezuela, and up next is Iran. And
Before or after Greenland?
well,
That's the Greenland sandwich, maybe.
Okay.
it's number 3 on the cork board.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So in Iran, if folks had some time to watch reports on the weekend, the protests there against the Islamic regime are only increasing, despite the fact reports are saying that more than 540 of those protesters have been killed. We've also had anti-Islamic regime protests by Iranians living in this country, Iranians living in Paris. So it is building the pressure against the Islamic regime there. The protests, they say, started because of the economy is wrecked in Iran. It's terrible. But the latest this morning is that President Trump says Iran wants to negotiate. Now, what that means, we're not sure. But here's President Trump talking about this. I believe he was asked about this on Air Force One on his way back to D.C. last night. Cut number 1.
These are violent, if you call them leaders, I don't know if they're leaders or just they rule through violence. But we're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it. And we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination. Iran wants to negotiate, yes. We may meet with them. I mean, a meeting is being set up. But we may have to act because of what's happening before the meeting. But a meeting is being set up. Iran called, they want to negotiate.
Well, one of the persons who's very interested in this is known as the Crown Prince Razi Malavi. He is the son of the former Shah. Remember back 1979 when the Islamic regime took over from the Shah there.
That's when Ted Koppel got his start.
Yes.
You remember Nightline?
Oh, yeah.
The Iranian
that was a big deal.
Yeah.
The Iranian hostage crisis.
Day 38.
Yeah.
Young Pahlavi was just 17 when that occurred. And what did he do after that? He came to the United States, trained as a fighter pilot here in the U.S. But now, of course, what a lot of people believe and want, apparently, is for him to be returned. And he is commenting on what's going on in Iran right now. And that will be cut number 3.
Mr. President, you have already established your legacy as a man committed to peace and fighting evil forces. There is a reason why people in Iran are renaming streets after your name. They know that you are totally opposite to Barack Obama or Joe Biden. They know that you're not going to throw them under the bus as they have had before. This is why they believe that this time they are empowered by the hope that you have their back. Let's hope that we can permanently seal this legacy by liberating Iran so that we and you can make Iran great again. We hope only that the Iranian people this time will be victorious, and they will be, because I know that the Iranians are prepared to die for this cause, and so am I. We're doing everything we can, and I think it's not just for us as Iranians, it's for the whole world.
He said that to the president? When did he say that? This person.
This was picked up on the weekend. I'm not sure he met with the president directly. I have not seen that report. I think this is he's making a comment.
Just a history review here for those who don't remember or are too young to know what happened with Iran. We mentioned the Iranian Revolution in 79.
79, yeah.
79. So Iran is a Persian country. It's not an Arab country. It's a Persian country, different ethnicity, different language. And they, it's a big country. I don't know how many, 50 million, something like that. Pretty big country. Maybe more than that. I'm just guessing. But they were under a what would you call it? A dictatorship? A friendly dictatorship to the U.S.? The Shah of Iran, the Shah.
Mm-hmm.
He was friendly to the West.
Yes.
And I don't know if you call him a dictatorship or not, but he was ruling over.
And I think it was essentially a dynastic kind of monarchy.
Okay.
And by the way, I looked it up. It's 90 million.
Oh, 90 million.
In Iran. It's a big country.
So they had a revolution over there, an Islamic religious revolution in 79, and that's when they overthrew the Shah, who was, again, friendly to the West, and they basically had an open society there. A lot of educated Iranians and well-traveled anyway, but the religious mullahs, that is clerics, whatever you want to call them, the Shia part of Islam, very strict. They took over the country by force, and the Ayatollah Khomeini was a figurehead. He was the main. Well, I say more than figurehead. He was the main one. he was like over the mullahs, and so he became the dictator basically, and his friends, imposing Sharia law. And so it was a radical change for the people of Iran at the time, and it's been that way ever since. And now this is the second uprising in the last 15 years. The first one was in 2009, and it was ultimately subdued by the mullahs. Mullahs, again, are the religious leaders led by the Ayatollah. And so now they got the same thing happening again. That's what this gentleman's talking about, who is the son of the Shah, who's no longer alive. And I guess people are thinking maybe he'll come back to Iran and take over in leadership should the Ayatollah Khomeini and the mullahs be overthrown. But that's a long way from happening, seems to me, right now, even though reports are that we're getting a lot of uprisings throughout, and a lot of this seems to be economic frustration.
Inflation rate is just skyrocketing.
Probably a lot of it because of the economic sanctions that have been imposed by the world.
Yes,
against at least the Western world against Iran.
They have problems with water supply. They have a lot of problems over there. And now, Fred, some of the information over the weekend was that forces loyal to Khomeini and to the mullahs, this Islamic regime, were just killing protesters, that the number might be as high as 500 or more. It's difficult to get accurate figures because the Iranian regime cut the internet.
Yes.
In part to keep people from using social media to have their protests gain steam.
Yes.
But also it does limit the information going out of the country.
Well, not only that, but Fox's military expert, Jack Keane, he was saying even for those arrested, it's almost a death sentence.
Right.
Because they usually end up killing them in prison, hanging them in prison.
Yeah.
They don't have a justice system like we're familiar with here. So, yeah, it's a dire situation. But, Iran doesn't have any, yes, Tim, you were saying they're a Persian nation, but Iran doesn't have many friends right now in the Arab world, given the Gaza peace plan that President Trump has put in place, because you got some of the major players involved with that. I guess their closest friend right now may be Russia.
Right.
That is the only ally that they have. So it's going to be interesting, as we reported a few minutes ago. President Trump is talking about they're interested, that's the Islamic regime, in negotiations.
What is any idea what he might mean by that?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I don't see it coming together. Where do those minds come together on this? How do you stop the rioting that's going on there? I think you have a very strong uprising by the people of Iran that is not going to be quelled by keeping the Islamic regime in place.
Well, I certainly hope the Trump administration is not or would not be thinking in that direction. The only thing I can think of is you just tell the leaders, I don't know how high up you go in terms of the mullahs, but you just tell them, we will guarantee your safety to go to a country of your choice.
Yeah.
But you got to step down, and you got to allow free and fair elections, or have the son of the Shah, who was deposed in 1979, have him come back and take over the country. There is one of the things, I don't know if you're wanted to talk about this, but there's been a lot of talk of the last 10 years or so of Christian conversions in that country. Now, I'm sure it's still a small percentage of the total number of people in Iran. I just mentioned, I looked it up, 90 million. But it's apparently the country with the fastest conversion rate in the world.
Yes.
People converting to Christianity. And we won't know until this regime does fall and freedom is kind of let loose. We won't know how many of the Muslims in that country are Muslims in name only, because they're living under the heel of these mullahs. We won't know until
To your point, one of our editors, Billy Davis, right now is in contact with an Iranian woman who is a Christian. She has left the country many years ago, But she says the Iranian people would welcome the Shah's grandson back in. Far better for the Iranian people, she says. So we're going to have a story on this in the next week or so. Direct testimony from this Iranian woman who went to prison when they discovered that she was a Christian. She was handing out Bibles with a friend there in Iran, went to prison, but they did let them go. And now she's willing to tell her story. So we're going to have that story on AFN, hopefully by the end of the week.
Whatever negotiation that President Trump is talking about with Iran, it wouldn't possibly involve military action, would it? I mean,
it would involve the threat, I believe, of military action.
I think that's clearly the threat that's on the table, because he said that Iran was getting close to crossing a line.
Yes.
With the protesters.
Red line, yeah.
Red line. So
I don't know. That seems contrary to not getting us involved in foreign wars, which is what one of the staples of the MAGA movement, right?
Yeah. And that has been an issue in the MAGA movement, is that split, that foreign policy split, which foreign policy is hard to navigate sometimes.
Yeah, because things change in the world too.
They do. And what you thought was going to be America's strategic interests, let's stay away from foreign intervention. Sometimes, like in the case of probably of Venezuela, you go, well, we had to do something because our enemies were getting a foothold in our own hemisphere.
Yeah.
And so who knows where this is going to wind up. But I am glad to see that Iran has been isolated to a large degree, with the exception of China and Russia, probably North Korea. And China and Russia certainly big dogs on the world stage. But I don't see anybody in Europe defending the mullah's rights to keep the Iranian people in servitude.
Next story, Fred.
Well, next story is related to Venezuela. By the way, you mentioned China. I did not realize until the weekend China gets 85% of its oil from Venezuela.
Who does?
China.
I didn't know it was that.
You sure
I didn't know it was
about
that
that?
much.
Well,
but
that's what was reported on the weekend. I did not realize that. But in connection with Venezuela, Cuba has depended greatly on Venezuela. And on the weekend, President Trump warning Cuba, and this is a Newsweek story, Tim, that you sent out earlier, warned Cuba that zero oil or money will flow from Venezuela, urging Havana to make a deal before it's too late. So it's make a deal with Trump time.
President Trump's turning into Monty Hall here. Let's make a deal.
listen, that would be a great thing. I don't know how the thing's going to play out in Venezuela. A lot of moving pieces in terms of where that country goes. But if President Trump is able to cause the communist regime in Cuba to finally fold, that would be, listen, you talk about making Cuba great again. That country has been oppressed since 1959 when Fidel Castro took over. And you talk about waiting a long time to rejoin the world. That country was pretty well to do back before the communist takeover. They certainly have been experiencing the quote-unquote blessing of communist ideology for the last, whatever that is, it's 45, something like that, 46 years. That'd be a wonderful thing if Trump could pull that off.
I had the chance to visit Cuba with Transworld Radio back several years ago. It is an absolutely beautiful country. It's beautiful. The mountainous,
right?
I didn't realize Cuba
That's where all the communists were hanging out.
It's incredible. The tourism potential, the beautiful beaches, all of that sort of thing. So it's this the great plum that just somebody needs to grab.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the Cuban people would love. But again, the question is, and Tim, okay, what negotiations do you have with the Castros to make them give up?
Well, I'll tell you what now, we've got some nice old model cars that they may be interested in. I'm talking about some 1950s classics. that they might be interested in down there. You know what? Cuba is no threat to the United States. I don't see militarily. I mean, they live under communism, but until they overthrow it themselves.
I think that's what Trump's hoping to do by saying no oil for you.
So you can't drive your cars.
Well, I think he wants to put economic pressure on Cuba.
Change the government.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, I can go for that.
You remember the old Seinfeld thing? No soup for you.
Yeah.
No soup for you. No oil for you, Cuba.
So is President Trump's? Is he blockading?
No, I think this is why I said that I don't know how things are going to wind up going in Venezuela. He wants Venezuela to stop giving oil and money to Cuba. Cuba was, I guess, in exchange for that, sending some of their military members over for security details. But I think he wants Venezuela to shut off the spigot. I'm not sure Venezuela is going to do that.
All right. Well,
President Trump's been busy.
Nothing much else happening in the world, is there?
Well, apparently, all of what we've talked about is not enough for President Trump. This week, he has his Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, who's not busy enough already.
Right.
He's going to talk to the Danes about Greenland.
Really?
Because President Trump, at the very least, wants a greater presence in Greenland.
Yeah.
Now that country does have a lot of strategic significance.
It does.
In terms of potential missile attacks, if there's ever a nuclear exchange with Russia. I think we've talked about this on the program. Those missiles would go right over Greenland. And also to have a stronger military presence on Greenland to help deter Russia, or to have a forward operating base and pre-positioned supplies, troops, whatever, in case there's a clash in Europe. But there's also a lot of minerals, very important rare earth minerals in Greenland. So the President Trump has, am I exaggerating, or did he basically say we're taking Greenland where you can sell it to us, but I'm not ruling out the military?
Yeah, it's the easy way or the hard way. Greenlanders, just figure it out. Is that what he told them?
I think that's basically what he said.
Well, all right. It's a little complicated because Denmark, a small European country,
member of NATO,
which the United States is the big player there in providing funding and military to defend Western Europe from any kind of Russia or aggression, because of the prior Soviet Union communistic, expansionism, I guess you could say. So now we're talking about taking. I think there should. So Marco Rubio's going over there, so our Secretary of State, to talk to the Denmark leaders about
Greenland.
About those.
We'd like to move into your neighborhood.
About that fishing village we want to take over. We'll be back.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
There seems to be a vast swing toward the letter of the law and away from the spirit of law in our society. People are more intent toward making sure that the law has been met legally than they are if the law has been met morally. I guess the deciding factor is that if one meets the law legally, then he cannot be punished, while failing to meet the law morally doesn't bring court action. A pretty good illustration of this happened in Memphis, Tennessee some time ago. Willie Burton left home one morning to see an old, dirty, worn-out 1958 Dodge parked in front of his house. When he returned home from work late that evening, he noticed that the car was still there. And because it was nearly blocking his driveway, Mr. Burton called police. The police told Mr. Burton that according to law, it was not sitting near enough to his driveway for them to ticket it. Mr. Burton then asked the police to move the car because he was afraid one of his 2 children might dart from behind the car and be struck by another automobile. But he was told by police that, according to the law, the car had to sit there for 5 days before it could be towed away. Mr. Burton was certain that the car had been abandoned, but he could not get it moved because of legal technicalities. The law set up to deal with the problem made the problem impossible to deal with. You know, there are several things like that in our world. Take the church, for instance. It's very easy to become a member of most local churches, but because of technicalities set up to protect one's relationship with the church, it's nearly impossible to keep an honest membership of the roll. Most rules concerning membership in the church are set up to protect the membership and to make it meaningful. However, we have completely forgotten the spirit of those rules and have taken them legally. So if a person's name is on the church roll, he is legally a member of the church even if he hasn't been in 20 years or given a dime during that time. The spirit of the rule, that the member be an asset to the church and to himself, is never taken into consideration. Only the legality of the rule. And legally, they're still members, but morally and spiritually, they're not. You know, this type of dealing with things has a very deadening effect on people. It can destroy the very thing we set out to protect. If you don't believe it, ask Willie Burton. The car sat in front of his house for 5 days like the law said. But on the 3rd day, Lisa Gale Burton, age 4, darted out from the car and was struck by another automobile. She was pronounced dead at the hospital. More important than the letter of the law is the spirit of the law, and the method in which we approach it often is a matter of life and death, spiritually as well as physically.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
However, as it is written, what no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no human mind has conceived, the things God has prepared for those who love Him. 1 Corinthians 2:9.
American Family Radio. This is Today's Issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of Today's Issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of Today's Issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. That's the name of this here show, Today's Issues. And I'm Tim Wildman with Ed Battagliano and Fred Jackson, talking about stories that are in the news. And before we get back to the current events, Ed, you have an announcement to make?
Yeah, I just want to let our listeners know, do not miss.
Don't
miss the Hannah's Heart Women's Conference. Through It All is the name of it, coming up January 30th and 31st. Hannah's Heart is a program heard right here on American Family Radio. It's a program for women and families living life that may not look like you planned. This women's conference will include worship with Phil King on Friday night and Saturday. The keynote speaker will be Jane Johnson, author of Mercy Like Morning. You'll enjoy food and fellowship and a chance to share your challenges and concerns with other women who know what you're going through. The Hannah's Heart Women's Conference, Through It All, will be at Hope Church in Tupelo, Mississippi. You still have time to register at afa.net/events. That's afa.net/events. That's the
coming up
announcement. That's coming up January 30th and 31st, the end of this month, last weekend.
What's the emphasis?
The emphasis is going to be through it all, and is going to.
That doesn't tell me anything, though.
Well, I already read. You were looking at football scores.
No, I was watching you leading your women through what all?
Okay, so.
No, I know the answer to this. Yes. I'm thinking of a listener out there going, it's just another women's conference. We have them in my neighborhood. I don't have to drive to Tupelo to get a women's conference. So I'm asking you, what's special about this?
So
you know?
I'm just reading
Are you just reading the script?
I'm just reading
the script. They just pay you to read because you're a pretty face. Is that what it is?
Just another. Listen, It says this women's conference will be for women and families living life that may not look like you planned.
Okay,
You didn't plan for it.
I'll tell you what it's about.
Okay.
Okay,
I look
I'll
forward
tell you
to
what it's
hearing
about.
this.
It is about that, generally speaking. But the Hannah's Heart program deals with women who can't have babies naturally, a lot, and for various reasons. And so that's very painful reality for a lot of women. And so this is a sisterhood of folks who are going through and have been through struggles in that realm. And there are other things too, but that's basically what they started out as, Hannah's Heart. That's a radio program that we do here on American
Because
Family
life
Radio.
sometimes throws you curveballs.
Right.
Kind of like when you just are told just to read a script and then your boss asks you for additional information, the information that you don't have. And
Right.
you're scrambling to
I tried to
make
give you a
sense-
chance to
make
do it
sense-
yourself.
to make sense of the
Like-
world.
I feel like I'm talking to one of my sons. I gave you an opportunity to do it yourself, and now I'm going to have to do it for you.
Okay.
No, you did read the script that was given to you.
Yes.
To make the announcement about the conference. Tell us for more information, seriously, about this conference for ladies and women. How do they do that?
And for more information, you can either contact Tim directly or you can go to afa.net/events. afa.net/events. This is the Hannah's Heart Women's Conference. It's titled Through It All, coming up January 30th and 31st. afa.net/events, and you'll be able to see more information right there.
I think one of the, what do you call them when you go to a conference and you have side...
like breakout sessions?
Breakout sessions.
Yeah.
One of the breakout sessions is going to be how to help take over Greenland. I think that's going to be one of the breakout sessions.
It doesn't appear that we're going to need all that much help doing it.
All right, so before the break, Fred, you said that President Trump has dispatched Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Yes, heading to Denmark.
Heading to Denmark to talk to the Danes, all 7 of them, about the fishing village in Greenland that we might be sending in the 82nd Airborne. Is that right?
I did not say that.
Have I overstated that?
I think you overstated it.
No.
However, no. I need to back up a little bit.
Back up a little bit.
The White House has used the term, we're not opposed to sending the military. Now, they've kind of drawn back from that because that just got everybody in a fit. You know, we're going to send the U.S. military to take over Greenland.
We already have a military base, right?
We have a little
one.
one.
We can use our own base?
We have a station there that's been there for many decades.
Okay.
But there are 2 concerns. Number one that's being listed is that Greenland is strategic in our efforts to keep the Russians and the Chinese in check. There's great concern that they can, from that area of the world, they could launch attacks against our country.
All joking aside,
yes,
that is what you just mentioned is a legitimate fact.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
yeah,
so it's the largest island in the world.
Yes,
okay,
it's huge.
So and it's very strategic. We mentioned that before, militarily and otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So, and President Trump has said basically, it's a NATO. Denmark is a member of NATO.
Yes.
And we, the United States, are the major supplier of military support for NATO, or have been, and money.
Correct.
So it's not unreasonable to say to our fellow NATO member, hey, look, we need access to this land to be able to defend you,
yes.
to carry out the mission of NATO should it come to that. Is that right?
I think at the very least, what Secretary of State Rubio is probably going to say is, at the very least, we need to expand our existing military presence in Greenland. That is something the Danes might be open to.
Yeah. If not, buy it outright. if you can do that. I mean, that's been done down through history, right? Louisiana Purchase comes to mind.
Alaska.
Alaska
We bought
comes to
Alaska
mind.
from the Russians.
Right. We bought land before around the world.
At this Patufic, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, Patufic. It used to be called Thule Air Base. That the U.S. Air Force and now the Space Force uses. And so we do have a base there, and it hosts the 12th Space Warning Squadron, which operates a ballistic missile early warning system. So that's used to detect the launch and the progress of ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles that are launched against North America. So I'm not sure what else we want there. Perhaps some missile bases that would shoot down missiles if Russia launched at us.
Maybe we want cheaper salmon. That could be a part of the deal.
It could be. I'd be willing to. That'd be great.
Better price on salmon?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you're listening to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. Next story, Fred.
Well, let's come back home. Minneapolis is still the focus of a lot of attention today. That in the wake of the incident involving ICE agents there last week, where, and I think most people have seen video of this incident, a woman who has now been described as a ICE watch warrior there in Minneapolis. She was interfering with the operations of our ICE agents there in that city, and she had an encounter, and when it was over, the driver of this SUV that you've probably now seen the picture of was dead. The initial reports coming mainly from the mainstream media was the ICE agent who shot her did so in an unwarranted fashion. Well, what happened within 24 to 48 hours, what we didn't know initially is that ICE agent had a camera on. And they released the video of the encounter, which proved that this woman, Renee Nicole Good, as she tried to speed away from that area, she actually hit this ICE agent. And many people now believe that he was justified in shooting this lady. Very tragic end.
I couldn't tell by the video. Did he fire before or after he was hit? Does anyone know?
I think he fired as the vehicle was coming. When she gunned it to leave, or if whatever she was intending, it looked like she was headed straight for this officer. He had his cell phone out in one hand and then drew his weapon and fired. And as he's pulling his weapon out, it looks like she started to turn, probably to get away from that handgun.
This woman, what was her name?
Renee Nicole Good.
She was looking for trouble, and she found it.
Yes.
She was looking for trouble all day. It is now confirmed that she and her, quote, wife, she was a lesbian. She was out. They were out trying to impede the work of ICE.
Yes.
And by blocking a road with their vehicle.
Yes.
And the ICE agent, I saw the video, came up to her, and she's being a smart aleck to him and taunting him, as is her, if that's her wife, I'm hearing, her mate, whatever you want to call her. If I'm hearing on the other, was that the other voice on that video? Was that her significant other or something like that? Okay,
that was the original video.
And she's the one, her who's walking around like within 10 feet of the ICE agent or agents, again doing the same thing, taunting them and impeding their work and their access to the road. So I'm sorry this lady lost her life. That's I'm sorry, but she put herself in a bad position.
Yes.
And the ICE officer was being about to be mowed down with a car. Anybody would fire a weapon if you're. By the way, this same ICE officer had like a few months ago been dragged by a car, almost tore his arm off.
Mm-hmm.
Wound up in the hospital.
By somebody doing the same type thing.
Yes.
Here, so, all right, you know what, guys? This is The Democrats, not all Democrats, but some of these Democrat officials and people on the left, they are antagonizing this situation. They're throwing gas on the fire here. The mission of the immigration, the ICE, what's the name?
Immigration Customs Enforcement.
Okay, they've been around for a long time, right? Through Democrat and Republican administrations. They are tasked with rounding up the bad guys and deporting them or catching them. And we're talking about hardened criminals. We're talking about drug dealers, people involved in human trafficking, gang activities.
People involved in fraud up in that part of the state.
So that's the reason they exist. They are federal agents. And now, because Biden let 15 million people in here, we got a lot of bad dudes. And that ICE is responsible for finding out where they are and going to pick them up, detain them, arrest them. Well, the Democrats don't want that. They don't want ICE doing anything.
Yes.
Because they're trying. A lot of them are encouraging people to go out and physically impede, as this lady was doing here, who got shot and killed, the work of ICE.
Yes.
I'm not sure exactly. I know people say, Tim, don't be naive. I'm not sure exactly how to process this, Ed. Why are they doing this?
Well, I think you got it exactly right. By the way, they're not only trying to get people to be antagonistic and hostile and impede ICE in its lawful duties, they're also, these political leaders in places like Minneapolis and Minnesota, saying we're not going to turn out the local cops either. Yeah. So can you imagine if ICE had cooperation with Minneapolis Police Department and Minneapolis Police Department would arrest people like
who are using their cars to block the road?
To block the road. You arrest them. It has nothing to do with ICE, ma'am. You can't park there.
Right.
But so they're inflaming the situation, these politicians, and then saying we're not going to give you local police help. I saw another video of a couple of ICE agents being challenged by an entire neighborhood full of Somalis. They had to back out because nobody was coming to help them. And listen, first of all, it's Donald Trump doing this. This is driving the far left just absolutely bananas.
So the righteousness or lack of the case doesn't matter. Well, I say lack of. Or the lawfulness of it, I should say, not necessarily righteousness, although they overlap. That doesn't matter. It's because Trump is initiating it, therefore we resist, right?
Yes, absolutely. And then the Democratic Party has been in love with immigration, whether it's legal or not, and they do not want to see their hard work, air quotes, under the Biden administration of filling this country up with illegal immigrants. They don't want to see that hard work reversed. And, we just got through here this month will be 1 year of Trump's his first year of his last term. Okay. There's 3 more years, and the left feels it incumbent upon themselves to try to stop everything Trump wants to do, because they may not get another shot like they had under Biden to fill this country up.
Related to this, did you guys see the video of the police chief in Portland crying?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
That was pathetic.
Okay, the police chief in Portland, Oregon, had a press conference. I've forgotten his name. His name is Day, D-A-Y, I think is his last name. There was a shooting in a confrontation between two Venezuelan gang members, right?
Yes. A man and a woman.
A man and a woman.
Yep.
What's the name of the gang?
Tren de Aragua.
Okay. Anyway, that's the name. Anyway, the ICE agents were confronted with them and shot them.
They were driving.
They were in
a vehicle.
So the police chief of Portland, Oregon, why was he crying at this press conference?
Bob Day.
Okay, Bob Day. Can either one of you guys tell me when he was talking about this?
They were wounded by the shots that were fired.
Right.
and he felt bad about that.
Yeah, he was upset. It's Tren de Aragua is the name of this Venezuelan gang. He was upset because he's very supportive of the Venezuelan community, the immigrant community, and he was sorry
in Portland. And so he's sorry that two of the gang members were.
Yeah, I listened to some of it.
It sounded like
was talking about the hostility.
It sounded like a snowflake. The police chief should not be up there weeping over two gang members being confronted by ICE agents, right?
Right.
I mean, you would think. But it sounded like to me he was going, well, I feel bad for the whole Venezuelan community here, our immigrant community here, because they're not all like this. But it sounded like to me he had to also confess that these two did have gang member ties to this. So it just seemed like, well, they are a Portland, and Oregon would be a sanctuary state, right?
Yes, just like.
So they want as many illegals to come there as possible. They don't call them illegals; they call them undocumented or what? I don't know what they call them now.
Yeah. But you know, it's a picture of the mindset. This police chief, and you've got the mayor of Minneapolis, Fry. You got the governor of Minnesota, Waltz. Within an hour after the incident, the shooting of this woman, they, in their press conference, pretty well had the ICE agent convicted of murder. That's the way they were talking.
Well, the New York mayor, or the Democrat, Mandana, he called it murder.
He called it murder. They immediately there in Minneapolis tried to equate this with George Floyd. Here you go. This is another George Floyd, an innocent lady, just, she has her First Amendment rights to protest, and look what the ICE agent did to her. That was the narrative they tried to get out there right away.
And Bob
that
Day,
wasn't true.
No.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and Bob Day, the police chief in Portland, had to admit that the shooting was because these individuals were connected to Tren de Aragua. And this is what he said. He wanted to mention, quote, the historic injustice of victim blaming, end quote, by law enforcement. And then he said, he's including within his own agency.
This is the chief of police of Portland.
Chief of police he says, quote, I want to speak for just a moment specifically to my Latino community. It saddens me that we even have to qualify these remarks because I understand, or at least have attempted to understand, your voices, your concern, your fear, and your anger. So
about what?
About the way they've been treated in the past.
The people of Portland mistreating the Hispanics, Latinos?
Yeah, and I'm sure he wants to blame the Trump administration for that, but he said even within his own department. And so,
what does that I know you. I'm not asking you to defend him. I guess I'm asking you to. So what does that have to do? It seems like to me his job should be to get up there and announce the arrest of these people, or what the facts of the matter was. Not. He's getting into the social justice movement.
Yes, and which might explain his
tears.
His tears is he's basically saying, okay, we have to admit these were gang members, violent gang members. Right. However, let me say that does not change the fact that immigrants in Portland and in this country are getting a raw deal. I think that was the point he was trying to make.
Let me ask you this one other question. So it's becoming apparent to me that we just have a completely contrasting view of law and order here in this country, because it seems to me the Democrats, they don't believe in, they believe that borders are immoral and that people should be allowed to come here from all over the world and pour in here and nothing be done to deter them or stop them. And even criminals, they don't believe that ICE should go after trying to arrest them. That seems to be what the hill they're going to die on. So that's their worldview. Is that, how do you interpret it any other way?
I don't know. I don't think that's unfair at all, what you just said. I think that is if that is not spot on, it is right next door.
That's kind of scary that 50% of the country, if you want to say, now maybe not all Democrats subscribe to that, there would be some who don't. But these are people who vote, and they're voting for the end of our immigration laws. Hey, how do you process that?
I would say to the left, I would take you more seriously if you would at least say,
right,
absolutely, we are in favor and support of the Trump administration getting rid of every illegal immigrant in this country who's a criminal, who was a criminal in the country they came from, or who became a criminal in this country. I'm not even talking about coming into the country illegally. I'm saying these people have committed crimes once they got here illegally, and that includes no fraud like we've seen in the Somali population. I would have an easier time having a conversation with someone on the left who would say that. Let's start there. Bipartisan, let's get rid of the criminals. Can we all agree on that? Now that we've done that, and we've done that in a bipartisan manner, let's talk about what we do with people who've been here for 20, 25 years. Yes, they came here illegally. And then let's have a separate conversation about the ones who came into this country illegally under the Biden administration. But no, all we get from the left is ICE should not be allowed to do its job. We, in parentheses, we don't care if they're criminals or not. That's sad, pathetic, and dangerous.
I do think you were onto something earlier, though, and we mentioned this when Biden was in office, and he opened the borders wide open to, as we said, some say 12 to 15 million people walked into our country. I never will forget. We'll forget the interview with Joe Biden, but he was in the White House like year one, and somebody said, "Do you know that the border's wide open? There's videos of just thousands of people pouring in here every day, right?" And he said, "Well, they must think I'm a nice guy." Do you remember this?
Yeah.
I'm going like, this is your president. He's swore his hand on the Bible to defend the laws of our country. And then he said, with respect to immigration, we're not going to have any laws. Y'all come. And then he said, they must like me. They must think I'm a nice guy. I remember him saying that. Anyway, well, we'll see what happens now. But President Trump did win the election. And I think that this was a big issue during the presidential election. So I think a majority of Americans, maybe not a substantial majority, but at least a majority of Americans do believe in law and order when it comes to immigration into our country, and we can't allow just people to pour in. And President Trump ran on going after the bad guys who were here illegally and deporting them, and that's what ICE has been trying to do. But as I say, as we've seen what's happened here, they've been met by physical resistance in many of the blue cities. We'll be back after this short time out with more of today's issues on the American Family Radio Network.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
Getting married, starting a family, their eternal values and ideals. These are core values that shaped this country for so long. These are values and ideals that are rooted in Scripture. They're eternal values and ideals.
At the Core with Walker Wildmon and Rick Green, where culture meets biblical truth. Weekdays at 1 Central on AFR.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. President Donald Trump said Sunday that Iran is starting to cross U.S. red lines, citing reports of civilian deaths and warning that any attack on American interests would be met with overwhelming force as his administration weighs what he calls very strong options. Tammy Bruce, U.S. Deputy Ambassador to the UN.
The president has made it clear his opinion that the Iranian people deserve a good life. Certainly Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, has stated the same as well regarding our commitment not just to them, but clearly a worldwide effort that President Trump is making through his cabinet, that we're determined to end this dynamic of constant suffering and constant carnage, and Iran certainly is a part of that framework that deserves to be better.
President Trump said the U.S. must acquire Greenland, not lease it, arguing the Arctic territory lacks defenses and warning that Russia or China would move in if Washington does not act, a move he said is critical to U.S. and NATO security. This is Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton.
It's in America and Greenland's interest for America to have sovereignty over Greenland, much like it's a blessing that we bought Alaska over 150 years ago, something at the time that was called Seward's Folly after the Secretary of State. But who believes it's a folly today that we control the territory of modern Alaska? Greenland is a vital strategic location.
In light of the recent discovery of massive fraud in the state of Minnesota, House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer says he wants answers, and he may issue subpoenas for Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison.
If they don't agree to come, we're going to subpoena them. And both Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison both served in Congress. They know what a congressional subpoena is. And I think they know that the whole Republican conference is serious about people showing up for fraud hearings. And if they don't, they're going to be held in contempt of Congress. And that's not going to end well for them.
The future of female sports is at stake this week when the Supreme Court takes up two cases of men trying to compete in women's sports. One in West Virginia, one in Idaho. And ahead of that hearing tomorrow, a coalition of 207 female lawmakers filed a brief in support of biological women. All of the signers were Republican. Maine State Representative Laurel Libby says Democrats support men competing against women, even though it's wildly unpopular with the American public.
The fact is, it is wildly unpopular with the American people, whether we're talking about Maine, West Virginia, Idaho. We signed on to this because it's common sense to protect women and girls' rights.
Immigration enforcement advocates don't believe Minnesota Governor Tim Walz's threat of using National Guard troops to oppose federal ICE agents will work.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz continues to defy President Trump's efforts to round up and deport dangerous illegal alien criminals. Walz recently declared that Minnesota doesn't need any further help from the federal government in dealing with political unrest, and he issued a threat.
I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary.
Hannah Davis is investigations manager at the Federation for American Immigration Reform. She thinks President Trump would federalize the Minnesota Guard.
President Trump would then take over Minnesota's National Guard. I think even throwing that out into the ether as an elected politician can't say things like that, and it wouldn't go far. I feel like President Trump would have nipped that in the bud almost immediately. And so here's hoping that Governor Walz does not continue on with those threats or actually intend to use the National Guard that way. If anything, he should bring the National Guard in to curb down on the protesting.
Mark Krikorian is executive director of the Center for Immigration Studies.
If Governor Walz or somebody else, Governor Newsom or Pritzker in Illinois, tries to order either police officers or state troopers or National Guard to actually go against ICE agents, that would be one of those dangerous tipping points, but I don't think we would tip, because I think you would see the state troopers and the cops and National Guard just saying, what are you, crazy? We're just not doing that.
I'm Chad Groening.
More news available online at afn.net and download the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
Hello everyone, Tim Wildmon here. We've got some great tours lined up in 2026. Washington, D.C., George Washington's Mount Vernon, Colonial Williamsburg, historic Jamestown, Boston, Massachusetts, and that greater area. So much to see and do in 2026. If you want information on any of these trips, go to wildmongroup.com, WILDMON group.com, and we'll see you on one of our tours in 2026.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, president of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to this Monday edition of Today's Issues on American Family Radio. I'm Tim with Ed here, and now joining us in studio is Steve Paisley Jordahl.
Good morning and afternoon, everybody.
Steve, you have a good weekend?
Yeah, well, let's see. Last Thursday, I had carpal tunnel surgery. Friday was pretty hard to move my hand. Saturday was a little bit better. Sunday and today, I'm feeling pretty good.
So a 3 to 4 day recovery for a carpal tunnel surgery?
Well, it's still a little stiff and it's still a little sore, but
as long as you can use the remote.
Yeah, of course.
Does that
first thing that I checked?
Now that used to be caused by using a typewriter over the years and years.
Still is.
Is that what they say?
Still is a computer now.
Okay.
If you, I have those little bumper things that you put in front of the computer.
Yeah.
That don't let my wrist go down too low.
Okay.
That's the ergonomic solution.
So you're not limp-wristed?
I am not.
Okay.
You know why I've never had problems like you have had, where I've had carpal tunnel syndrome, is because that is for people who actually know how to type. I just use 2 fingers.
That's not going to. You're not going to get.
And I am actually pretty fast.
You wrote your book with 2 fingers?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
And my new one that'll be coming out.
You ought to be in
like
the circus or something.
I know.
Well,
that's pretty
it
amazing.
Would be the only reason why I'd be in the circus.
Okay.
All these years of writing, 2 fingers, man. I'm fast with it, but it also means that you don't place your hands.
That's right.
On the keyboard like you're supposed to.
Yeah, but you lose your index finger when you're 63 too. They're worn out to the nub.
Let's not hope that happens.
Well, you're past 63.
Dr. Dodson, when he wrote his books, he wrote every one of them out longhand on yellow legal pads.
Really?
Every one of his books on longhand on yellow legal pads, and have someone transcribe it, type them up for him.
I didn't do well in typing class in high school, but once I started writing a lot, and I was a newspaper guy, and
you appreciated.
I learned to type. You learn to type. It's kind of like learning to read music or something. Or play music. You just learn. So I've got to be pretty good typer.
I also took a class in high school, typing, and did well in it. And then promptly, when I finished, said, I ain't doing that. And I went back to my 2 fingers. Yeah. And I've regretted that ever since. I've regretted because I've many times needed to be able to look at what I'm transcribing and be able to type. And now what I have to do is I look and then turn to the screen and write it. That's improper. And I took the lazy way out. The good news is I didn't have to have carpal tunnel syndrome surgery in my 60s,
you did
like
not.
Steve.
Nope.
Yeah, that's just, you know what? You and I have known each other a long time. I didn't know you only depended on 2 fingers for typing. That's
right.
Pretty amazing. All right, you're listening to Today's Issues on AFR. What's your first story, Steve?
Well, just an update. I know you guys talked Greenland a lot on the first hour, but I have an update here. Randy Fine, the Republican from Florida, is introducing a bill today that would be aimed at authorizing Donald Trump to take such steps that may be necessary to acquire Greenland and set it on a pathway to becoming the 51st state.
Who did this?
Randy Fine.
Who is he again?
He's a congressman from Florida.
Yeah, I think I've spoken with him before. Hey, he's one of us. But listen. First of all,
state.
2 problems. I thought Canada was going to be our 51st state. Yeah. Okay, so
I think they're resisting. There's a resistance there.
Can I just ask you 2 guys? I just want to know, what do you think about this? Do you think we should use the military if we have to take Greenland? What do you guys think? I mean even Steve's opinion. What do you think?
Even my opinion?
I'll let Steve go first.
All right, go first, Steve. What do you think? You think we should, if we have to, roll in there and take it?
I doubt we'd have to do that. It would be like rolling in and taking Tupelo.
Okay.
It's just not going to.
Do you think we should have that threat? Because to me, it's starting to get to a little bit like, okay, we can buy Greenland from you guys, And if you say no, it'd be a shame if something happened to your family dog.
I have to say that the raid in Venezuela may have gone just a little bit to the president's head. I think he's now threatening 18 different countries.
Other than that, Trump really doesn't have an ego. Besides,
What do you think, Tim, about Greenland?
Well, it'll be our Navy SEALs versus their literal SEAls.
Right.
Okay. Now they may be trained.
Right.
I don't know.
Trained SEAls.
Trained SEAls. They
But-
can do a volleyball on their nose or
Yeah.
something like that. It'd be very impressive to watch. Should we invade? Listen, I understand as we've talked about here, in all seriousness, the strategic need for the United States to have access to Greenland. We already have a military base there, a small one. And I think we can work something out. I don't think President Trump should be throwing around the idea of military invasion on a fishing village. There's only 30 or 40,000 people that live in Greenland.
Yeah.
And these are our friends over there in Europe. I mean, for the most part. So I think it's bullying.
I was reading something this morning that said that we already have the right to go in and put as many military bases in there as we want. So
that's true. We don't have a need to antagonize the situation.
Unless it's for the minerals. Also, in other words, for the minerals.
That's a big island. I don't know. Do they have a right to? Does it belong to Denmark? The whole island of Greenland?
It's under Denmark's jurisdiction.
Yeah.
I think I think the people of Greenland decide their own political fate.
But I'm just saying, just because it's I understand there's some cause for debate on this because that's a massive piece of land, an island, and does it mean because you have one fishing village on an island the size of what is it? The size?
It's the largest island in the world.
Probably the size of half the continental United States or close to it, I would guess.
I've flown over it. It is just endless white.
Yeah. So does that mean you control the whole island forever? I mean, I don't know. That's somewhat of a question mark in my mind. But I just think Trump needs to drop the talk of.
It is more than 3 times the size of Texas and larger than the combined areas of France, Germany, Spain, the UK, Italy, Greece, Switzerland, and Belgium.
But not Denmark.
But not.
I think they were the first to come up with the phrase "Don't mess with Greenland."
I think.
Right? I think they used that.
First and only.
Make Greenland great again.
Make Greenland great. I don't know. We'll see. I do think that Trump needs to drop this idea of quit talking about military invasion of.
Because you get people's ire up. People start getting you start threatening. Like you said, it is bullying. Now we may need that island, but we should pay for it.
Yeah.
And they belong to an ally, a member of NATO.
Right.
Do we want to really create a dust up with NATO?
Anyway, President Trump sometimes. He's operated this way forever, though. I don't know. He seems to get a kick out of humiliating people. I don't know how else to say.
New York bully.
Huh?
New York business.
I mean, now if he's your bully, you're all for him.
That's right.
But if he's not, sometimes he just gets carried away with his ego, and just starts spouting off at the mouth, and just like, man, just dial it back, dude.
Well, he's kind of consistent in that he's never taken military action off the table for anybody because he just doesn't want to tip his hand. The military, we're not going to invade Greenland with military.
I just don't think it helps.
Anymore.
I don't think it helps the conversation by even bringing up the idea.
Well,
that's what I think. But you asked me my opinion. That's
right.
my
I
opinion.
did. So, all right.
Next story, Steve.
The future of AI is in medicine. If you listen to Elon Musk, I want you to play. This is Elon Musk says in 3 years, we're going to have AI surgeons that will be better than our best surgeons, and we'll have them at scale. Listen to cut 15.
When do you think Optimus will be a better surgeon than the best surgeons? How long for that?
3 years.
3 years, okay. Yeah. And by the way, that's
I'd say 3 years at scale.
Yes.
All of a sudden, there'll probably be more Optimus robots that are great surgeons than there are all surgeons on Earth.
And the cost of that, but that's an important statement in 3 years' time.
Yeah.
Because medicine, I mean,
I'm not like absolutely certain, but I'd say if you say like 4 years, I'd be absolutely
If it's 4 or 5 years, who cares? That's still an
extreme precision.
Yes.
3 years. Yes. Better than any, probably, I'd say if you like put a little margin on it, better than any human in 4 years.
Who's in plastic surgery.
By 5 years, it's not even close.
I think your point was medicine is going to be effectively free. The best medicine in the world.
Everyone will have access to medical care that is better than what the president receives right now.
So don't go to medical school.
Yes, pointless.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you, but I would say that applies to any form of education. It's not like some, I do it for social reasons.
Yeah.
You're not going to medical school.
If you want to hang out with like-minded people, I suppose.
There you go.
Who is he talking to?
That is on a podcast called Moonshots. He's talking to U.S. physician and engineer Peter Diamandis.
Listen, that's on one hand encouraging, on the other hand that's scary. You have to have a special kind of mind to even get into these kinds of discussions. Elon Musk certainly has that kind of mind.
You could go toe to toe with him, though.
I couldn't.
Oh yeah,
I could. I could probably
You could
paint
go
his
index
toenails.
finger to index finger with Elon Musk. Yeah.
I could paint his toenails.
Yeah.
If he did
I don't
that
need
kind
that
of
thought.
thing.
Yeah, that's just kind of creepy.
That is creepy. Okay, but here's the thing. It's like these futurists who are so up to date with current trends that they then can make advice on policy. So if people aren't going to medical school, okay,
because they believe what Elon Musk said,
because they believe what Elon Musk said, then what does that do for research? I'm not even talking about if there's some epic failure and we need human surgeons, the machines don't work for some reason, whether that's a war or something. Okay, that's a separate issue. But what about for research?
AI is better at that too.
AI is going to be better than that. Well, that could be. For him to say 3 years, 5 years tops, that surgery would essentially be free as long as you have a robot.
But he's not talking about a robot at your home like Rosie.
He's talking about a humanoid robot. Right? He's talking about the Optimus, which is the robot that walks around that looks like a human.
Well, I'm guessing like Tim's saying.
You go to the doctor, and out comes a robot.
You're right.
To say, come back. You're going to... Oh, okay, let me ask you this. I could go for the robot if the doctor's office appointments will be on time.
Well, they probably will be.
So,
and I'm just going to tell you right now, I am not paying to go to a robot doctor who says, Ed, you need to lose 20 pounds. Okay? Your numbers are good, but
you need to drop 20.
You need to drop 20 pounds. And I'm not taking that from a robot.
Have a flat tummy like I do.
Yeah.
By the way, you're already using AI. When I go to my doctor's office, they're listening to everything my doctor and I say, and they print out a summary of it at the end. AI does, and everything that my doctor and I say goes into my medical records.
Oh, so even the conversation.
Even the conversation.
Okay. You know what? I have a 6-month checkup in February. I'm going to ask my doctor that.
You should.
Because they do. They type things up. Maybe the computer, maybe they turn something on, and that whole conversation.
It's my doctor's.
But Elon Musk is serious about this.
Yeah.
He's saying, well, okay.
I
just have an opinion of that. It's just, just my blown. I don't believe him.
You don't believe it?
I don't believe that he's lying, that he's intentionally misleading you. I don't believe that surgeons are going to be taken over by robots in 3 years. I think that's nuts.
Well, like I said during our story meeting, I know it can't be true because on Star Trek there was still a Dr. Bones And
that is true. What do you do with that fact?
That's right. That's facts right there.
That's facts.
Well, he does subscribe to the Star Trek version of the AI future, not the
Star
Terminator.
Wars.
You guys think we're going to convert over on a mass scale to driverless cars?
AI is coming for everything.
Yeah, but maybe it'll be like the 8-track. People don't want to give it up. I don't know. I don't want to give up driving.
No, I don't either.
Well, maybe there would be an option. You could have the self-driving mode. Like, what do you do with autopilot? Maybe there'll be an autopilot mode, and then if you want to drive, you can.
Yes,
I tell you what, though. I tell you what, though. I do appreciate the improvement that you call them smart cars are. The new cars today are just amazing with the technology that's there for safety purposes.
Right.
It's there's no telling how many lives have been saved in the last 3 or 4 years because of the advancements in in safety.
Listen, I remember you remember probably you too, Steve. We're in the same vicinity, same neighborhood age-wise. I remember when seatbelts were not required.
Yeah.
You didn't have to wear a seatbelt. I remember us going on a trip, a long trip, and me sleeping on the little ledge at the back of the car.
I remember the same thing.
And I remember and having that sun coming in. My dad had to stop short. Yeah, I would have been pitched into the next county. But I remember the arguments about no airbags. People should be able to do this on their own. All that stuff has changed, and now you get it. And this is not even really AI that we're talking about, but you're talking about safety, anti-lock brakes. Well, we used to have to pump our brakes.
But the new cars also keep you from going off the road.
Yeah, the lane assist and it's an adaptive cruise control. So if I set my car on 60 miles an hour and I come upon a car that's doing 50, my car will automatically slow down.
Yeah.
Yes. Now these features can be disengaged,
I suppose.
So it didn't on the cars I've had the last few years. So you're not like you can use them or not use them. They're I think their default.
Right.
Their default when you buy the car is set in that way. But personally, I appreciate it because it does tell you if you're going off the road, or if one of your tires is low. It'll tell you whether it's one of.
And which tire it is.
Yep.
Which tire it is. I mean, you wouldn't know that. Right.
Listen, I recently had an episode where I tried to pull into Pizza Hut, and my car said, "Not today, pal."
Well, there you go.
Would not let me pull into Pizza Hut.
Well, it's looking out for your long-term health.
There you go.
Right there.
I'm just kidding. We're not at that place yet.
Have you seen this new ad? Have you seen this new ad with Tom Brady? Pizza Hut ad.
Oh,
what is?
Have you not seen this?
I think I have.
If you watch any football game, you'll see it's got Tom Brady. And he said, I've got a new job. He's a Pizza Hut delivery guy. Yeah. And he goes up to he goes up to the knocks on the door, whatever, to deliver a pizza, rings the doorbell, and he said, "I'm here for Pizza Hut."
He does pretty good on commercials.
Yeah, he did.
He's not bad.
But Pizza Hut.
Yep.
Anyway, one of the pretty funny.
He owns part of the Raiders.
Does he? The Raiders.
He's an owner of the Raiders.
Well, he's probably got plenty of money. Yeah. Anyway, that is a fascinating story, and I'm going to be honest. I'm glad I'm on the way out.
Don't tell me we're going to have AI for football too, though.
I don't know.
Just watching robots compete? Nah.
Yeah. Please,
we can't have that.
Say no.
No, we got.
I already did that in 1970s. With my electric football.
There you go.
That was awesome.
Remember electric football?
Yes, I do. What a disappointment. That's why kids went out and played. You play that game for 15 minutes, you have forget it. Let's go out and toss the football around.
Couldn't stop your running back from going the wrong way because the board was shaking the wrong way.
That's how we got outside. Anyway,
all right,
that is very interesting. I'm glad you're keeping up with AI.
You're listening to Today's Issues. Tim, Ed, and Steve. Steve, next story.
Woke is still alive.
Woke.
I want to introduce you guys to Emily Randall of Washington, who says we have to really pay attention to the real problem, which is white men. Cut 16.
We can trot out all of the data that we want to create the sense that there is a bad guy. There is a bad group of people. There are folks who are not among us. There are folks who are other. And I think we should spend a lot more time looking at ourselves, looking at American citizens, looking at white men who are committing violence at disproportionate rates in our country, who are committing crimes at disproportionate rates in our country, including the President of the United States, who is sitting at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Who is this woman?
Making that up.
Who is she?
Her name is Emily Randall. She is a Democrat of Washington. She is
like a city council person or something?
No. She's a representative.
Oh,
from Washington.
Member of Congress?
Yes.
Well, all I can say to Congresswoman Randall is calm down, Emily. Calm down.
Why don't you say it to her face?
Yeah, so listen, she sounds like...
I think she's making it up. I mean,
she's been hurt.
Wrong.
She's been hurt by a white man in the past. Listen, I get tired of getting blamed for everything. And so she's claiming that white men commit crimes disproportionately?
Yeah, that's a bunch of garbage. Huh?
Yeah.
Listen, I would be fine. Let's not look at skin color. Let's just arrest people when they commit crimes, put them in prison. I don't care if they're white, black, brown, red, yellow. I'll leave anybody out.
You're going to have disproportionate impact.
Yeah, well, then.
White, yellow, wait, hold on. I'm still trying to figure if you left anybody
yellow,
out.
Black and white.
Steve's got the song we're all thinking.
Right.
What did you say now? What were the colors you gave?
I said white, black,
check. Hold
brown.
on. I got to check them off.
Okay, white.
Check.
Black.
Check.
Brown.
Check.
Red.
You talking about like an Indian?
Indians.
Okay, check.
Yellow.
Who's the yellow?
Them Asian folks.
I don't think you're supposed to use that term.
Asian?
Are you?
I'm not.
I
didn't say Oriental.
That's what I say. Y'all told me that was offensive.
Yeah, well, that's what Asian folks say. I don't know. Is it Asian allowed?
Oriental and Asian are different. Oriental is the art, is an object. Asian is a person.
Oriental's an object?
Oriental art, Oriental.
Oh, okay. All right, from the Orient. Yeah. All right, well.
Black and yellow, Mike.
I haven't left anybody out, have I?
No. I guess you can call Asians yellow, although a lot of them are brown.
You know what I always I like? This is obviously overly simplistic. I know we're coming to the end of the program, but that's all right. There's no time like the present to be overly simplistic. Have you ever met a pure black person or a pure white person, color-wise? People are all different shades of.
We all bleed red, Ed.
Well, we're all different shades on a spectrum, from the whitest human being to the blackest human being. What's the
DC Talk had a song about that.
What's the name of the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King?
Alveda King.
Alveda King. She says this. She says there's no such thing really as black people because there's no such thing as a purely black person. We're all on a gradient of colors because we're one race.
That is touching.
I thought that was beautiful.
It's beautiful.
I thought it was a beautiful thing.
All right, we're out of time. We thank you for listening. Thank you, Steve.
My pleasure.
We are encouraging you to tune in tomorrow for another edition of Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. And I said to keep listening to AFR throughout the day. Take care, everybody.